Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to today's room, which is before you self-publish your book. Just going to wait for a few more people to join us in. This is my first room that I'm hosting in Clubhouse, so I might have not even sent the alerts well. So come right in, come right in. Just a few housekeeping rules. If you have any questions, this is an open environment, so you can go ahead and press the hand at the bottom of your screen, the raised hand at the bottom of your screen, and I'll bring you on stage to ask your question. I'll go ahead and do a quick presentation, just a rundown to discuss before you self-publish your book. Who is going to self-publish their book? Is it something that you're considering? Is it something that you've looked into and felt a little bit overwhelmed? So the purpose of this room is to just have an open discussion around the topic and see how to engage that conversation. So just to have an engaged conversation, be it that you want to have a book around a fictional story or a non-fiction story. Is it going to be a cookbook? Do you do a lot of recipes? Are you posting a lot of recipes? And this initiative came through as well because of just seeing the amount of growth that people have had on TikTok and just going around a couple of the lives and seeing large creators with large volume accounts, a lot of accounts, but not necessarily knowing how to manifest that and turn their followings, their likes and views into currency. So that's the purpose of this room today. So I welcome you now, and we'll go ahead and get started. So one quick thing to go into is when it comes to before you self-publish your book. So it's always just like any business plan, publishing a book, it is a book, but what is the intention of you having a book? What is your end result? Is it just because you want to have printed material? Do you want to have it as a Kindle edition? Do you know how much you want to sell your book for? Do you have an idea what's going to be in your book and what it's all about? So my book, which is titled Before You Self-Publish Your Book, is a quick guide for content creators and digital creators across social media platforms, because there's a general misconception that build it and they will come. So basically, I have 1 million followers, or I have 100,000 followers, or in some cases I have 20,000 followers. I've built a strong, engaging community, but if you look at your bank account, it's not a reflection of the community you have built. So the purpose of this book is to take you from, I have this community and I have this book topic, how can I merge the two and in the end turn it into a revenue generating platform for me so that I could make in turn money and move forward with that, instead of always just accumulating likes and followers, which can be a really exciting in the beginning. But how do you move away from the topic of this is exciting, this is this is how many followers I have, because these are conversations that we find, especially in our community, people of color and Black entrepreneurs, is I have X number of followers, I have 20,000 followers, I have 50,000 followers, I have over 100,000 followers, but you find there's no business around what can I do in terms of generating income around that business? So the purpose, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So as you come in, please mute your mic so that it's not a disruption to the flow. So before you self-publish your book, a quick guide for content creators and digital creators. By the end of this book, or by the end of this room today, you will be able to make your published book a profitable business that is a passive income. So again, the goal here is converting your followers into dollars. And you do that by doing cookbooks, by doing collaborations with other creators. How can I get these are some of the things that would help you generate your revenue in terms of the book. Why a book and why self-publishing? So self-publishing, the cost of entry is literally next to nothing, if not at all free. The investment in that is literally the time that you put in into writing out the book, working behind the scenes to create this back end. So for example, is self-publishing a book a good idea? It absolutely is a good idea, in my opinion, that is. Why? Because it's another form of revenue generation. So again, I mentioned to you, the goal is to turn likes, views, and followers into currency. And a book is one method to do that, because the book will allow you to make sales, and also because you've created a community and a sense of belonging, and that like, know, and trust factor. Your followers will definitely use the opportunity to support your business. You will see that if you build a strong community, your supporters are asking you for merch, or if you're cooking or you're a cook show, or you do a lot of TikToks around recipes, they're asking you for that cookbook. Why? Because they align with you and you've done a good job of selling yourself in video format. But now, what can you give your community to follow you along? So, one of the questions, so before you start writing your book, here are some topics to consider. So should I write under a pen name rather, or a pseudonym? In my case, I use a pen name. And the reason for that is I write on different topics. I'm a ghostwriter in some instances. So for me, it doesn't really matter what name or which author name I'm using. What matters to me at the end of the day is the dollar revenue. So how far can using a pen name take me? And as you know, you also need to consider your book title. Why is your book title relevant? So today I will cover book title, your book cover, your niche, so that's who you're marketing to, creating a landing page, and driving traffic from your social media platforms. There's a whole lot more around that topic, but these are the topics that I feel I want to open up the conversation with, to bring this over. So what book title are you going to have? What is the book title? That's the very first thing you want to consider when you are publishing your book. A book title is just like your username on the social media platforms. Does that draw an audience? Does your book title tell your audience what you need to do, what the book is about? So in this case, this book is titled Before You Self-Publish Your Book. That tells you, without even calling the author, exactly what the book will do for you. So these are the key steps that I have to go through before I publish my book. So a quick guide. So before you self-publish your book, it's actually a quick guide for content creators and digital creators. So what type of book title? So that's the book title. And I've also added the description there just to niche it down a bit more to be exact what it is. Another thing that you want to go into, now you've determined what book title you're having, now you want to figure out, I need a URL. And the purpose of the URL is obviously after you self-publish your book, you want to as well sell the book. So there's two platforms. The platform that I use to self-publish is Amazon's KDP platform. And that has been a great tool. You have full control of your creativity on there. You can create your own book covers. After you assign a book title, you are assigned your ISBN number, which absolutely locks in that title to you. As well as from there, now you want to check. Now that I've decided what my book title is, now I want to check if I can get a URL for that. And the reason why you want a URL as an author is if Amazon decides they don't want to sell your book anymore, if Amazon kicks you off their program, and Amazon only pays you royalties, right? But with your own URL, so in my case, before you self-publish your book.com, the purpose of that URL is I could also sell the book individually on my website. And guess what happens once I have my book selling on my website, alongside with selling on Amazon and Kindle, is that my book is going to have a lot of sale, is going to have, I can now charge whatever I want on my platform, on my website. So on my website, I could add author related benefits, for example, a signed copy of the book. Another example would be adding upselling. So you could upsell to the consumer because you're speaking, well, your website is speaking directly one-on-one with your customer. You know your customer by name, you know where they live. That's all data that Amazon doesn't provide you. All that Amazon tells you is that you have a book sale today. So in my case, I will get a notification. This is how much sales you made, and this is how much we're depositing into your account, which is great, right? It's passive income, but you don't have any form of interaction with the customer. You're not able to go back to the customer and get reviews out of the customer. You're not able to build any form of engagement with your customer. And that's the purpose of also creating your URL. So again, before you self-publish your book, you want to check your book title. You want to check the availability of that book title as a URL. And then, like, you guys are so, can you get out? Get out. You're opening water. So you want to go ahead and then, sorry about that disruption. So you want to go ahead, and the next thing you want to do is go ahead and choose your URL and secure your domain. So what problem does your book solve? So in my case, this book is a quick guide for content creators and digital creators on how to write their book. So how do you write your book? How to self-publish your book, okay? Next thing we're going to go over is your book cover. So your book cover is exactly what your book represents on a shelf. What color is it going to be? How is it going to catch the eyes of the audience? Remember, you're not the only author. You're not the only book they're going to see. How are you going to make that catchy? So you want to make sure you have a great design that's ready for your customers. You want to make sure you have a great design that's ready for your customers, a design that grabs the attention of your customers, and a design that explains exactly what is going on with your, and you want to explain exactly what is going on with what this book is about. What graphics can you add? What design can it be? What words? I recommend you go to fiverr.com. In my case, I use Canva and I design all my books, but my book cover's there. But if you're not a creative in that manner, definitely go to Fiverr. For minimum $5, you can actually get a book designer to design your book cover. You give them what the book is about, and they will give you a few concepts, and it's so affordable. So I definitely recommend that if you're not really familiar with how to design a book. Next thing you want to figure out is, who is my niche? So who am I writing this book out for? Understand the ranking game. Understand the ranking game. So what that means is, on Kindle, there's a niche, there are categories. Understand who you're picking it for. Who are you selling this book for? Who's your audience? Do you want it to be only the Kindle readers? Do you want to have a Kindle and paperback book? I always do the two. Again, that's separate revenue. That's two separate revenue streams that you can create from one book. So that's one book generating two sets of revenue for you. So KDP pretty much allows for that and provides a very easy conversion from Kindle to paperback, or paperback to Kindle, depending on which you start off with, what you decide to go with. So your market analysis. So you want to know who it is that you're writing for. Who's your audience? will they like this idea? So my audience is definitely somebody who is a digital creator, a content creator. They have a passion, they have a topic that they can write out. It could be a cookbook, it could be somebody who's always writing recipes. So that's who we have. That's my target audience. So my target audience is somebody who has had the idea but doesn't know exactly where to start. And my goal is to move you from idea to selling and doing this online. So you want to drive traffic from your social media platform. So that's the last topic of today. So you want to drive traffic from your social media platforms. And what that looks like is if you have 10,000 followers, 100,000 followers, 500,000 followers, over 1 million followers. Those are all followers and people who know, like, and trust you. And you've built a sense of community. So now you using your platform to generate sales for yourself. Amazon can't do that for you. Amazon can provide you, has put your book on a platform where there's billions of customers, but there's also millions of authors on there. So you want to be able to stand out of that crowd. You want to be able to stand out, right? So for example, you want to drive traffic from social media onto your URL. So now you understand why we had a URL, because we wanted to drive traffic to the URL. It's either you're driving traffic to the URL or or to the Amazon KDP links. I'm sorry, the Amazon links directly to the book, right? Go ahead, click link in my bio, and this is where go ahead and click link in my bio, and you will find when you ask for the sale, especially when you've built a great following, and I'm going to use TikTok as an example, especially if you've built a great following, what that tends to do for you is right away, immediately send your platform into it right away sends your followers directly to where you want them to go. So if I'm sending them to Amazon, guess what? I've done the work, I've done the back end, I've moved them from social media into the Amazon platform, and hopefully Amazon converts them into a sale. So they click that shop button and checkout button, and that automatically generates a sale for you. I personally prefer my own URL. Why? Because I will have all that interaction with the customer. Of course, everything is happening in the back end, but make money while you sleep. Ever heard that saying? So I could wake up, I have all my data. I can pull up how many sales did I make? Who did I sell? I sold to Jane, Lisa, Timothy, and John. I sold 4 books last night. Okay, which one? She wants a signed copy. She wants 2 copies. She wants 1 cent rush, 1 cent regular mail. This is all touch points where you can generate revenue. And that's the purpose of this room. So if you have any questions, go ahead and raise your hand and I'll bring you up so that I can answer your questions. I also have a few questions that I received on Instagram. Let me just go in and check what questions I already received on that platform. And I can go over some of those questions. And at the same time, this will give me a chance as well to raise your hand, come up on the floor, on the stage rather, and I'll open up your mic and we can go ahead and discuss. Your questions. So it's an open discussion, so feel free to come up on stage. So while you wait, while I wait for a few questions from the floor, I will go ahead. So this is the question I have on Instagram. How much does it cost to publish on KDP? So it actually depends on how many pages you have. And KDP has a set formula that they use. So, and this depends on your paperback specifications. But to actually publish your book on Amazon is free. Okay, so to upload your book into the KDP platform, it's free for you. What is a cost is the printing cost. So One thing I've taken advantage of. So I mentioned to you that you can actually sell the books on your own URL. That's because Amazon allows you to purchase your author copies. So you can put in a bulk order for author copies. And guess what? That has now taken care of the cost of publishing, of printing, of finding a reputable printer, someone who can deliver on time. Amazon has done the hard work for you. So, for example, if I decide I don't want to sell my book on Amazon, but I want to order author copies, and my book has about 100 pages. The cost of that to print is $2.15, and that's in US dollars. And that's approximate. Again, pricing depends on your book. If you have a huge book, a book with a whole lot more pages, so that's 110 pages all the way up to 828 pages, the cost of printing that book is 85 cents. So again, you can hear for yourself just alone, no matter how small your community is, the cost of entry into this is really, really low. One thing that I don't want to do is disregard. Um, One thing I don't want to do is disregard the cost of entry. So I mean the cost, how much does it cost to go to a publishing house? So you have looked into that or you haven't, it can be anywhere upwards of $20,000. So unless you have that kind of money available, it's usually a limitation for most people to go into the publishing world and become published authors. But in this case, Amazon has created this fantastic platform, which I've used personally. I've sold books personally. I've received money personally from Amazon. So I'm speaking on something that I like, something that I've seen work, something I've seen results from. And that's why I wanted to share this little nugget with the community here in Clubhouse. So let's go back in and let me check another question. Does Amazon take royalties? I already answered how much does it cost to put a book on Amazon. So another question would be, does Amazon take any royalties? Absolutely. So Amazon absolutely takes royalties. Amazon doesn't charge you any royalties when you order your author copies, but Amazon does charge revenue, does you do pay royalties. So Amazon does take a fee from your sale price of the book. Again, you set how much you want to sell the book. You also obviously have to take into consideration how much the book costs and how much Amazon is going to take, and then that gives you the profits that you will make. Again, waking up to seeing a line item on your bank account, Amazon KDP, that feeling is irreplaceable, irreplaceable. Again, that's why I titled my book Before You Self-Publish Your Book. The reason for that is you absolutely can just go into KDP, publish your book, let it sit, hope Amazon does everything for you. Amazon won't do that. You literally have to do the work. You have to bring your community in. You have to do the selling to your community. 70% on royalties on books. 70% on royalties on books. Okay, so Amazon does take a 70% on royalties on books. That costs between $2.99 and $9.99. And then they take 35% off on royalties on books that cost more than the $9.99. So that answers that question. So I have a pretty quiet group here on Clubhouse. Let me go ahead and check again on Instagram if I received more questions. How do I publish to Amazon KDP? I think I kind of literally covered that, but it's literally a very, very intuitive platform. It's just follow the bouncing ball. You need to have your book title ready. You need to know your book cover. Do you have a launch date? You can set that all inside there. How much do you want to charge? This is all stuff that we discussed. And then you literally upload your manuscript. Is Kindle Direct, so is KDP worth it? My answer is 100% it is worth it. And the reason for that, the reason I say that is because KDP has allowed me to have an additional revenue stream just from a book that I wrote and published once, right? You only write once. You're not writing every week. You're not updating your book. You're writing once, let it set, and then you're good to go. So yes, it is worth it if you put in the work in the beginning, and then now all you see is the sales coming in. You do your driving your traffic from your social media platforms to your sales pages or landing pages. That allows you to do the conversions in sales. So it's absolutely worth it. If you're looking to make some extra cash, it is worth it, because again, the cost of entry is literally next to nothing, if at all anything, except how much is your time worth? How much do self-published authors make on Amazon? So self-published authors, they earn 70% royalties. I explained that on books between $2.99 and $9.99, or they make 35% royalties on books that cost more. So depending on what your book is about, you want to know that you want to make sure that you are aware of some of the things. What are your goals? What's your financial goal? How much do you want to make? Have you done a marketing analysis of how much you want to make? Do you want to make 10,000 off this book? Do you want to make 20, 50? How much you want? I want to make $5,000 a month. What is that number? And if my number is $2,500 a month, how many copies of my book do I have to sell to make that amount after Amazon deducts all their fees? So it's presently 3:29. I don't have any other live questions. I hope that if you have any other questions, you can still go into Instagram. I will definitely answer all responses there. You can DM me, or you can answer to the question I put in my stories. I'll definitely be responding to each and every one of those. Thank you for joining us today. My name is T. Nyoni. I'm in Montreal, Canada. This was Before You Self-Publish Your Book, a quick guide for content creators and digital creators, how to turn likes, views, and comments into currency. Thank you for your time. Have a great afternoon.